From the heart of Central Florida, you are listening to the most electrifying show in media. A Neighbor's Choice. And welcome back to A Neighbor's Choice. I'm your host, David Gornoski, your neighbor. So glad that we could be together once again across Central Florida, from coast to coast, from the Gulf all the way to the Atlantic, the raging waves of the Atlantic. We're joining you, soaring high above the fruited plains of our citrus groves, all those zucchini and squash that people aren't able to sell because they've locked down the whole entire world of civilization as we know it. But we're going to get it all fixed out one day at a time, neighbor to neighbor. But we're not going to rely on the stupidity of political tribalism to do it. We're going to rely on working together, neighbor to neighbor, as we are wont to do whenever we have problems we need to fix. And so that's what we do on this program. We just heard a full hour discussion in 4 o'clock with my friend Dr. Ken Berry, a medical doctor who just eviscerates, just destroys the stupidity. And it's not just stupidity, but there's a lot of groupthink behind nutritional science. A lot of not just groupthink, but corrupt crony interests. You know, if you can get people to eat kibbles and bits in the form of Frosted Flakes and so forth, and think that's where you get your iron and stuff, as opposed to from what God gave it to us in a delicious thing like a ribeye, then you're going to get sent off into a wrong direction, a direction that won't be great, as Tony Tiger once used to say. I don't know if his ads are as strong as they used to be, but that is a symbol of why we're in the problem we're in today, where we have all these people sitting like sitting ducks with diabetes and cancer and heart disease and massive obesity, all due to eating the single-payer nutritional advice of 7 to 11 grains and replacing their butter with margarine. I remember, past generations, they used to eat butter. They'd eat butter all the time. And then we were told, no, the butter that comes from cows, that's awful. You need industrial waste product that we call margarine. That's the solution. Fat is evil. Carbohydrates are the solution. And they got everybody eating margarine. And then everybody started getting higher rates of all the diseases that continue to plague people in their elderly years. Those diseases are a product of a stupid single-payer nutrition system. We don't want single-payer
if single-payer nutrition is what broke our bodies to begin with. That's how it's going to work. And I will continue to say that because nobody else is, right? They're all stuck on, I think my team red, they can manage government health care better than the blue team can. Or the blue team says, no, we are the ones. Like Bernie Sanders, we are the one, the 99. I am the 1%, right? But then what does he do? He goes and endorses Mr. Magoo himself, Joe Biden. Well, he chokes over and over again. Every time he gets close to the revolution, he just endorses the status quo of warmongering and banker bailouts and regulations that are rigged against the little guy. And then he just endorses that and does a book deal and makes another million. Man, oh man, the crooked state crony millionaires like Bernie Sanders continue to destroy and screw over the little guy. And that's what I am really just had enough of. I've had enough of it. I want to advance the truth, and I'm not going to allow the peer pressure effect of all the dunce cap folks in media who want to continue to play on the narrow, as Tom Wood says, the narrow allowable opinion. It's the size of a note card, like a 3x5 note card that you use. That's the frame of allowable opinion. When we know that allowable opinion has got us into all the trouble that we've got into. No one's talking right now. If they wanted to do, for example, a real solution to help arm people and equip people about how to deal with the new pandemic virus, what would they do is say, get some fresh air, folks. Get some sunshine. Don't eat the Frito chips and the frozen pizzas. That's going to lower your immunity. That's going to increase the toxic level of inflammation in the body, which is what creates the environment for senescence, which is the aging cells that become the host receptors in the elderly and the infirmed and the sick when a virus comes along. Why don't they tell you that? Why can't they tell you that? Well, they would say, well, there hasn't been enough clear clinical trials. And then they think that magic incantation is supposed to shut you up. And it does for a lot of people, right? Because people are supposed to think, well, yeah, because everybody's sitting around doing double-blind clinical trials right now about sunshine in a pandemic. That's just a new virus, right? Like that's just a thing that researchers are going to just start doing sunshine. No, they have a bias because of single-payer nutrition and because of single-payer medical research science to go after a new drug, to go after a new side effect riddled new solution that can conveniently be patented rather than the glorious sunshine that's outside that you can't patent, rather than fresh air, which you can't patent. And by the way, I want everybody to breathe in the fresh air of freedom that is our birthright that we have right now, each and every one of us, as we have this time on earth, to do good things for each other, to be beautiful with one another, to be creative with one another. And it's not selfishness. That's what your state little overlords and their big business people want to tell you. They want to tell you every time we advocate for markets, they say, well, that's just selfishness. But what we do when the elites or the so-called elites in Washington, they are always discouraging generic antibiotics from being used as research for things like this virus. They're always discouraging things that cost 10 cents or 5 cents to make. And they're always conveniently pushing the status quo for pharmaceutical companies who are running out of profit opportunities. Their drugs don't work. People are waking up. People are learning every day what I tell people, that a ribeye a day keeps the doctor away, that you don't need to eat apples all the time if you're not running marathons. Most of us aren't. You don't need that kind of level of sugar running through your body all the time. Right now, the average American is eating hundreds and hundreds of carbs a day. And then they're saying, Dr. Fauci, tell me what to do. Bill Gates, reporting for duty, sir. How can I help you? Do you need a chip and a papers and papers, please? I go to the library every time I get in the car. Come on. We're not going to let this kind of stupidity, this kind of herd mentality destroy all the beauty of our God-given freedom. It's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. Here's why. The stupidity was built up when they had a monopoly on media and information making. They being big business corporations being able to be protected with regulations, what I call rigged regulations. Rigged. It's a rigged game. Every regulation they create is a rigged game. It's always in the name of the person. It's always in the name of the individual person. It's always in the name of the victim that it's supposed to be protected with this regulation. But in reality, it's always in the service of the big businesses that are meant to be reined in with these regulations. That's the thing that has gotten us into the problem. It's single-payer nutrition. It's stupidity that's inculcated with groupthink in a sycophantic media that clamors and salivates every time they hear, oh, we could shut down the government more. We could lock it down more. I went to a recent place not too far from where I live that was a Democrat-run city, and I was trying to patronize some of the restaurants, right? And the guy peeked out from the outside window. He said, it's open, right? And he said, well, we have to be closed after a certain time or they'll come and get us. They've got police driving all around. I said, well, I got to use the restroom. Can I use the restroom? He said, I'm sorry, sir. If I let you in the restroom, there's nobody in the restaurant. But if I let you in the restroom, they'll shut our business down. And I said, sounds like a bunch of fascists running your city, my friend. Sounds like a bunch of nutcases, bunch of whatever you want to call them. Little Democrats that want to run the world and make people not use the restroom. But then you can't use the restroom outside on the corner of the street. So where can you use the restroom when these little Democrats, these little love not hate cultists have their power? Well, they don't have power. They're losing it because they don't have the monopoly on media anymore. We'll continue in just a moment live on A Neighbor's Choice.
Dr. Jim DiRispino from Center for Men's Health today in Frank's garage. Doc, I was talking to a buddy of mine, telling him about my spring break plans, and he's like, where do you get the energy to do all this stuff? I said, testosterone replacement from C4MH.com. And then he asked me what testosterone has to do with energy.
Most people are aware of the effects of testosterone has on strength and sex drive, but for 99% of our patients, energy is the main focus.
I became a patient because I didn't want to lose muscle mass.
And there is hard data that testosterone improves mood, concentration, and memory.
So Center for Men's Health isn't just treating testosterone deficiency, it's treating the quality of your life.
Let me make this simple. Your body is a machine, and that machine was designed to run with a perfect testosterone level. But if you want to see how good your machine can perform, go to C4MH.com and spend the $45. You'll get over $400 of lab tests and the 30-minute physician consultation.
It's fast, easy, and convenient with locations all up and down the West Florida coast. Go to C4MH.com.
Windshields are all about safety, and so is Auto Glass America, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing. If your windshield is chipped or cracked and you have qualifying insurance, we'll install a premium quality replacement with a lifetime warranty at no cost to you. As always, we'll come to you with free mobile service while maintaining social distancing, plus you'll get up to $150 cash back for your windshield. Keep your family safe. Call us today, 813-96-GLASS. That's 813-96-GLASS.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
And now, Phoenix Pools is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. Make sure to save that text message for a time when it's not going to cause an accident. This tip is brought to you by Phoenix Pools, our area's premier pool company. Give the pros a call today at 813-774-2304. That's 813-774-2304. That's Phoenix Pools, going the extra mile for safety. They are professionals who care.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida? Nah, it's illegal here. 20 grams or less is a misdemeanor, and more than 20 grams is a felony. Well, I have epilepsy. Should I try to get a medical marijuana prescription? Now that's legal, but talk to your doctor first to see if it's a qualifying condition and if medical marijuana is even right for you. I will, thanks.
This is a mission, not a show. Everyone else talks. On A Neighbor's Choice, we get things done. That's what's exciting, isn't it? We're live on WHBO 1040 AM across Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Sarasota, and everywhere in between. And we're also on News Radio Orlando, Florida, and Daytona. So we're covering the full I-4 corridor where all the big, exciting things happen. I think we have a guest. I think we have someone who's stopped by. Justin Bean, is that you?
That's me, David.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. It's great to be on Neighbor's Choice today.
Well, I'm glad you made the choice to be here, and I hope that everything is well. You're in St. Pete, right?
Yes, sir. St. Petersburg, Florida.
Well, it's a little close to what I was just describing in the last segment, but I do want to ask you, how is things going in the St. Pete area right now in Florida? How are you doing over there?
So right now, things are going okay in St. Pete. There's a majority of businesses shut down. The city of St. Petersburg is primarily focused on tourism, arts, entertainment, and there's not a lot of industry here small businesses here, the restaurateurs, the bartenders, and the service folks that are our friends and our neighbors, they've been asked to shut their doors. So you're definitely seeing a large portion of the economy here shut down due to the virus that's going on.
Well, I was just sad to see that owner of a restaurant the other day in the Florida area who, was trembling at the thought at letting his guests use the restroom, because he was afraid his whole business would be shut down or something. I mean, that's the kind of atmosphere that I think is very unpleasant and unexpected in our own streets here in the good old USA,
Well, fear is a powerful tool, and you can see it all around us, especially with the virus. You see how people act differently than they normally would because of fear, and people aren't necessarily thinking for themselves or thinking as rationally as they normally would because they're afraid. And a lot of that fear is coming from the top down and from a lack of information or a lack of knowing where to get good information. So it is sad to see that happening. And I think it's up to each individual, each person to make those decisions not to be fearful on a daily basis and to continue on.
Yeah, I saw a story in the Tampa Bay Times that there's been an uptick in neighbors reporting on their neighbors, spying on them. They said, I saw a few trucks parked in McDonald's. What's going on? I saw another one spied on their neighbor. There was, I guess, a wrestling match going on in the front yard, and they wanted to report. I don't know if they were just reporting to the police who won, or if they wanted the police to be a surprise guest entrance into the Royal Rumble there. But that's the nature of there's a lot of nasty little, snitch-minded little folks that talk a big game about Russia is going to destroy our democracy, and then they're over there trying to get people arrested for eating a popsicle or playing t-ball with their kid,
That's right. Yeah. You see it. Everybody's kind of looking out their window, peeking around the corner, looking for anything. You see it in your own friend groups. People asking, "Hey, what were you doing exercising outside the other day? You should be at your house." Yeah. With the door shut and the windows closed. Right. No seeing anybody, no going anywhere. Yeah. Stop the spread.
And who are they to tell you that, Justin? Because fear. There
seems like there's a certain truth to some of it, but at the same time, it's not their choice.
Right, but here's the thing: to me, is like fear causes immune system to go down. Being away from friendship and companionship drives in social isolation, creates immune system going down. Not getting fresh air, being stuck inside of a house where you don't have a lot of circulation like wind is where viruses can thrive, and the literature has shown in science studies. Having lack of access to sunshine does not produce vitamin D in the proper ability of your natural vitamin D creation in your own body. So you see what I mean? Like, who are these people to tell us you can't get fresh air, you can't get vitamin D from sun, you can't get out and get away from stale air, because it doesn't matter what your immune system needs. We're going to tell you what you need for you. I don't think that's a good way to go.
No, yeah, I think people are seeing these restrictions, these quarantines from our governments, whether they're local or federal, and they hear these restrictions, and they want to. It gives them a sense of control to be able to say, "Oh, I'm going to push my neighbor or whomever even further." It's a sense of power over someone else, which really gets down to this idea of personal choice, and people trying to push that on other people when they have this chance in this pandemic.
Yeah, it reminds me of some of those busybody HOA types that will attack you if you get one grass blade a little bit too long, or one plant that is in the wrong spot, or 1 inch too close to this or that. And it's like they spend their whole life just looking, what can I do? And I think some of these poor folks, they're lonely, they're hungry, they're suffering inside. They want attention. And if they can get some attention by getting their neighbors evicted for having grass blade too long, or having a potted plant in the wrong spot, then they give them some kind of attention. It gives them some kind of meaning for life. But I don't think it's a satisfying way to get that meaning, you know?
Sure. It's one of those things when we're so alone, you know, if you're a single person right now, and you're stuck in your home, but you're afraid, you know, what else are you going to do? You know, so I think as a reminder to each and every one of us, it's our job to also put yourself in their shoes and to try to be kind to them, even though they may be making a choice that negatively affects you. So it's always your choice to choose how to react, right? And I think in these times it's best to react with some sense of understanding that people are in tough times, and to try to be as kind as possible to these folks.
Now, when you're someone, I think you like to go on boats, right? You like to get on boats and move boats,
yeah.
right?
Lots of boating here in St. Petersburg.
When you were young, when you first got on a boat, were you scared when you went into the ocean?
You know, the first memories I have being on a boat are fishing with my dad out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we would go out, and he's a huge fisherman, still loves to fish, and we still go fishing together. But I remember when I was young, I always was a little worried about going on the boat, not because I was scared about being on the boat. It was always being worried about when I was going to get to come back, and how far we were going to go, and how long we were going to stay out, because he likes to go for hours and hours and hours and hours. And that was always the challenge. Am I going to get seasick? Because I used to get seasick when I was a kid. And am I going to be able to, you know, get back before it gets dark, or before I'm, you know, sunburn or whatever? You know, it was always a marathon, not just a quick trip. So that's how I felt about boats when I was a kid. But now, full circle, I'm the one that's choosing to go on the boat with friends. And, you know, they've even said, hey, boats must stay 10 feet away or 6 feet away from each other. You can't anchor your boats together when you're out, you know, boating. You have to anchor them 6 feet apart. So it's even gotten into the boats.
Are you required to stay 6 feet away from the fish that you catch, or how's that work?
You know, I think they would like to make that, you know, a thing that you need to do. But how would you get them off the hook? You'd only be able to catch one fish at that point.
I'm speaking with my friend, my neighbor, Justin Bean. He's in St. Pete. I remember one time I met Justin Bean. I came to his house, and I went to find him, and I went to the beach, and I would say, "Where is Justin? Where is Justin?" And he emerged out of the water. He had been swimming, and he just emerged with a snorkeling mask. He just emerged out of the water as if he had lived in the sea his whole life. Let's continue in just a moment with Justin Bean. We'll be right back.
Have you written a book? You can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their book to the market. Our professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, our authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books, like Amazon and brick-and-mortar bookstores. So make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Don't wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author and seeing your name in print. You've already written a book, so the next thing to do is make this free call right now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
800-943-2195. 800-943-2195. That's 800-943-2195.
My name is Roz. Most people know me as a spokesperson for 1-800-ASK-GARY. The driver made a left turn onto ongoing traffic, and I hit her. Once I got out of my vehicle, and I was able to stand up. Then I started feeling pain elsewhere. I had to think. Call 1-800-ASK-GARY. They were on the ball, helping me find legal and medical help. They have thousands of other people, but they make you feel like you're their top priority. I made the call. I now tell other people to make.
Non-attorney spokesperson.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
As prescription costs rise, many Medicare beneficiaries are having difficulty keeping up. The Florida Department of Elder Affairs SHINE program may be able to help. SHINE counselors can guide you to money-saving programs, including one that may help pay your Medicare Part D costs. For more information, call 1-800-963-5337 or go to floridashine.org.
Hello, Tampa Bay. Hello, Orlando. Hello, the friends on the East Coast and everywhere in between. Hello to our citrus friends in the groves and everyone else huddled in their houses or at work. Those getting the groceries or those stocking the shelves for the groceries. Thanks for being with us. This is A Neighbor's Choice. I'm talking to my neighbor, Justin Bean. Justin, you live in St. Pete and you love boats. But you said when you were young, you would sometimes be a little bit nervous about when you would come back to the land.
That's right.
Did you ever have dreams of boating and just going off and never seeing the land again?
You know, as a child, I grew up doing a lot of boating, going to the beach, surfing, fishing, and just really being connected to the water. So as a teenager, when I started to surf and to be able to drive to the beach, because I lived in Central Florida as a teenager and growing up, I would dream of being able to get to go to the East Coast and to be able to go and surf and to be near the ocean. So, yeah, you could say I dreamed of it and spent a lot of time thinking about being on the water.
But now you can do a boat all by yourself now. You don't have anybody help you, or do you always have someone with you?
So now it's easier because I have my own boat, so I can go boating whenever I want. But there has been a little bit of concern over whether or not boating would continue. And people all over Florida, they moved here so they can boat, so they can spend time on the water, be close to the water, and be out in nature. And one of the considerations is, are they going to shut down boating for the public? Are you going to be able to take your personal boat, your personal property, and are you going to be able to use that outdoors in the water? So it's been a question that many people, myself included, have been concerned about the last month. In being able to do something outdoors that you're really connected to.
A lot of people are worried right now because of how different things feel in various parts of their life. When you got on a boat for the first time by yourself and went out, how did you feel when you didn't have your dad with you or anybody else and you were going out into the sea?
Well, that's a good question, because you see all the images or the movies about people being out of the water, boating, or doing things in relation to the ocean or the sea, and it looks exciting, it looks fun, but there's a very unknown quality about what happens every time you get on the water. So for me, first time I took my own vessel on the water, it was nerve-wracking because you don't know. You have control, and you're the one that has to make the decisions. But that's the scary part, is you're also in complete control, and there's so many different variables around you. You don't know what could happen, and there is some danger there. So there's a certain sense of excitement, of fear, of unknown, and all those things kind of combine as a new boater, somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. You're trying to figure things out as you go. You want to be as prepared as possible, but you can never be completely prepared. And that part is very interesting in the beginning. Like, for example, docking, right? So you can't learn how to dock really slowly. You have to dock. The first time you dock, it's about docking. There's no coming back, right? You can't fake it. You just have to do it. And it's not an easy thing. So you try coming in, you're trying to maneuver, you've got wind, you've got waves, and it's very nerve-wracking, especially if there's people watching or if there's other boats around.
So your hands are shaking that first time you're doing it?
Well, you don't want to hit reverse when you hit forward. You don't want to go vice versa.
Did you ever slam into the dock like in Forrest Gump when he plows right into the whole dock?
Oh yeah. I've there's some dings. There's some dings on the boat for sure. There's some dings on the dock. And
did you ever hit something so far you fell out of the boat?
No, not yet. No, everyone stayed in the boat. That's what you have life jackets for, though.
Have you ever encountered a storm that was very concerning for you when you saw it?
Yeah. So I've definitely been in some sticky situations with weather, and weather. You really got to be careful. It comes up quick. It's one of the major considerations. I'd rather just avoid it altogether if you can. But there has been some times when we've been offshore and we've been fishing, and you really you can't get back before it hits, and you just have to deal with it. I've never had any real serious issues, but it's definitely been uncomfortable and a little nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Have you ever encountered a sea animal that was surprising to you in your adventures on the sea?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of interesting encounters with sea animals. Once I was out surfing off of Patrick's Air Force Base, off of Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach area, and I was sitting out past the waves, and I look and I see this animal, what I didn't know, because I'd never seen anything like that. You see dolphins, you see sharks, you see different things that are kind of normal in that situation, but this was not any of those things, and it looked like some kind of it was bigger than a dolphin. It was black, and it was very, very large. It was moving pretty quick. It turns out it was a orca, and orcas are not normally seen off the East Coast, but it turns out we hightailed it into the beach, and turns out it was later the news was saying, hey, there was orca whales off the coast, and we were out surfing with these orca whales. It was one of the coolest experiences. But it was definitely a little nerve-wracking in that situation.
Yeah. It's hard. Did you know if they were the ones that eat seals or the fish?
I believe they were the killer orca whale, the type that SeaWorld's gotten in trouble for keeping in captivity.
So they eat sea. I've heard that there's two orca tribes one prefers fish and one prefers sea lions to eat.
Well, they didn't come after me, so I'm assuming they preferred fish.
That's real interesting to actually say you were swimming next to an orca in the wild, huh?
Yeah, so that was one. I also got to travel and was doing some surfing in Australia, and similar situation, except this time it was a penguin, and there was I'm not sure what type of penguin it was, but it was not, it was not cold. We were we were out surfing again, and it was warm water, and this penguin was swimming around, and it was pretty neat. It was just swimming all around, and I kind of followed it for a little while and watched it, and got to see a penguin in the wild as well as an orca. So spending time on the water has its benefits to being able to see some aquatic wildlife.
Well, did you have a good time in Australia? Did you just go there to do work, or were you there to just have fun?
So that time in my life was I was on a one-way trip. Essentially, it was traveling after high school, and the goal was to be what we were calling surfinaries, which we were missionaries that surfed and on surfing missionary trips. So we were surfinaries, and had a great time, but definitely did not. Was not a luxury. Every day was kind of left up to, figuring out what you were going to do. We didn't have much money. It was me and another friend of mine. And we went to Australia with one-way tickets and about $500 between the two of us with no plans, essentially, besides try to find a beach and try to figure out what we were going to do next. So that was part of about a 12-month traveling period, which was all kind of like that. And we had to depend on our people we met and their kindness, and we were young, so they were able to help, or felt like they would help us a little bit more. I feel like it's easier to travel when you're younger and do things like that because people will trust you more if you're
today if you show up and do that
versus
they'll think you're the Matt Foley character
as an adult.
They'll think you're the Matt Foley character from Saturday Night Live. Hey kids, I just came to move in, right?
Exactly.
So now today you work in the world of boxes and packages, right?
Yes. So today I work in an industry that is considered transport packaging, and a specific sector of that industry called reusable packaging, where we help companies and individuals ship, store, process, handle their goods and services or their products. It's something I've been doing for close to 20 years now, so know quite a bit about the industry and would love to share more about it with your listeners.
Well, what is a reusable package?
So reusable transport packaging is basically it's anything that you can move something in or on. It's considered secondary packaging. So when people think packaging, and I tell them I'm in packaging, they always think, oh, you do the shampoo bottle, or you do the cardboard box that my food comes in, my processed food comes in, or they don't get really to what the actual product is. But it's easy to understand when you think back since we were since Bible times, there were wine vases, things for carrying wine. There were baskets for transporting your produce and your goods from here to there. You always had to store things in or on things, and that's what we do. Reusable packaging is simply just a way to ship or store or move products.
That seems like a very important part of our lives, maybe how we get a lot of the things we enjoy. Let's continue with Justin Bean live on A Neighbor's Choice.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge. With all the coronavirus stuff going on, you've heard the CDC say wash your hands about 1 zillion times. You know, studies show that the average person touches their face 23 times an hour. Your nose, eyes, and mouth, that's called the T-zone. And the T-zone is the most important area to keep clean. And for over 12 years, there's this product called TheraWorks Protect. It's been used by millions of emergency room patients and medical clinics to support infection prevention. TheraWorks Protect is easy to use, and it's safe to apply several times a day on your hands and around your nose and eyes and mouth, better known again as the T-zone. Just apply a small amount into your hand and rub it in until it dries, and then apply another amount and rub it all over your T-zone. You know, finding hand sanitizer sometimes can be difficult, and now you can order TheraWorks Protect online. Just get it directly from them. Go to tzoneprotect.com and use the Bubba Kicker. When you use the Bubba /, you're going to get 20% off and free freight, and you're going to have it in a few days. Again, tzoneprotect.com /Bubba. Start protecting yourself and the ones that you love now.
Right now, we're going through some challenging times. People are looking at different ways that can reinvent their business. I've been in the digital marketing industry for 20 years. If you think it's a good time to do an audit on your website or have a conversation about your digital marketing strategy, simply just email me, Jeff@chiefinternetmarketer.com. Jeff@chiefinternetmarketer.com. We can do this right from the safety of our own homes through a video conference. Again, just simply email me, Jeff@chiefinternetmarketer.com for your free consultation. Stay safe, be vigilant, we will persevere.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Lang, board-certified optometric physician and certified nutritional specialist, host of popular talk show Ask the Doctor. I've researched and developed an amazing new omega-3 product that you'll see incredible results with. It's called Fortify Super Omega-3 Max. I had one of the top Norwegian omega-3 research teams in conjunction with myself and Fortify Vitamins aid in the development of this advanced omega-3. This product is the most potent and purest triglyceride form omega-3 in the United States today. Omega-3 is great for all aspects of your health and well-being, especially in this unprecedented, challenging time. I am giving a 25% discount with promo code RADIO during this viral pandemic. Go to my website, fortify.com. That's FORTIFEYE. Remember the EYE in Fortify. That's fortify.com. Enter the promo code RADIO to receive the 25% discount.
They say it should be impossible for bumblebees to fly because their wings are too small for their bodies. But bumblebees don't care. They just fly. Bright Expectations is dedicated to helping our Florida residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they and their families need to break barriers and achieve their dreams. Visit www.brightexpectations.com to start your journey today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
And now the fine folks at Lovely Green Landscape Service are on the air to remind all motorists to slow down through child-filled areas and always drive with caution, courtesy, and common sense. This safety tip is from Lovely Green Landscape Service, your local full-service landscape professionals. Residential and commercial, and all your outdoor beautification needs, call 727-697-2922. That's 727-697-2922. That's Lovely Green Landscape Service. They are professionals who care.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hello, David Gornoski here. You're listening to A Neighbor's Choice. I'm here with my friend Justin Bean, and we've talked about his joy of boating. He loves boating, and he also enjoys what he does in the world of boxes and containers. So, Justin, you were talking about since the times of the Bible, we've always found a way to contain things that we want to give to someone else.
Yes.
What do you think
Thank you, David.
of a box? What is a box?
Well, a box can really be a lot of things. When people think about a box, they normally think about what shows up at their door when they order something off the internet. And that is true. That is a standard, simple cardboard box, but there are so many different types of boxes and ways to move things that, it really would blow your mind. It's pretty amazing where we've come from the simple cardboard box to something that can fold flat, that can be returned over and over again, something that has stacking nodes and little pieces that interstack on the corners to lock boxes in so that they don't need additional plastic wrapping. And essentially what we do is we help people move beyond a simple single-use cardboard box or single-use secondary package. And why would people be interested? It's just a better box. Who cares? But really, the reason is because we help people reduce the overall cost of their packaging. So the biggest reason people want what we have is because it ultimately costs them less to use. Every time you use a cardboard box, think about every box costing $1, which some may cost more, some may cost less, but that's probably about the average. And think about every single time you just take that box at your house and you recycle it. And I'm air quoting when I say recycling because most people just throw that right in the trash. And essentially, you're just burning that money. And not only is it expensive, but it's wasteful. And the impact on everyone around us, there's a significant impact. And that's why we think that using a reusable box or reusable packaging in general is a better idea. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Buying boxes is just one of them.
Have you ever seen a box that just surprised you?
Oh, all the time. But so maybe the most surprising box that people would find surprising is our liquid containers. And this is one of the things that I deal with every day, and it's one of the things that is really becoming important with this response to the virus. And our liquid containers, they hold 330 gallons or 315 gallons of liquid. They fold down, so when you're done with them, you can fold the sides down and you can stack them up and you can ship them back to be reused. And inside of that container, you put a liner, like a bladder, like a hot water bottle bladder inside the container, and you fill it with whatever product that you need. And companies that make sauces and ingredients and all kinds of food that is going into the food that a lot of people eat are using these to transport their products from the place where it's made to the place where it's put into the food that is packaged and then put on the shelves at the grocery store. So it's one of those things that if you saw it out in the street, you probably would have no idea. It probably looked like it was off of Westworld. If you go back to season 1, season 2, and watch Westworld, you'll see these things stacked up in the chute because they look so science fiction that they use them in science fiction. You could go throughout all the shows. You could look at Star Trek. You could look at Star Wars. You could look at any sci-fi show, and the sets are made up of the boxes and the packaging that we sell and we use in industry today.
What's the biggest box you've ever seen?
The biggest box. Well, there's some very, very large boxes, but most of the time it's limited by the way that they're shipped. So if you think about how things move, everything moves either in a truck, on a boat, in a plane, on a train. These are the modes of transportation. And the vehicles on which we move our products is limited by those types of modes. So generally you're going to see something that is about the size, the length of the inside of a truck, or the inside of a shipping container. I mean, a shipping container is a box in itself, but we're talking about the things that go into those shipping containers or those trailers. So really, you're not going to get much larger than 100 inches long and 48 inches wide and about 100 inches tall. That would be about as big as you could go, would want to go.
Yeah, I've seen some families use shipping containers to make homes that are quite beautiful.
You certainly could. Yeah, I mean, shipping containers are a great tool for building. It's modular. Modular buildings are really interesting, and it's one of those diversions that I enjoy. From time to time, people will call in to my company and they'll say, "Hey, I'm looking for this or that," and you're trying to figure out what they're trying to do, and then you realize, you're trying to make a home of some sort, or you're trying to build something, and that's when it kind of gets outside of what we would do. But there are some really interesting things that we have done for either living quarters or for different office type applications. That yesterday, 2 days ago, I got a call from an architect in Boston, and they were looking to make a COVID-19 testing shelter where you'd have a piece of polyglass on the front and a fan that pressurized the room with the gloves that stick out from the box, and they stand inside. It'd be a little room, little modular room for them to stand in and test people for the virus. So you can definitely do a lot of things in this space. That wouldn't necessarily be packaging, but it is plastics, and plastics are related very closely to what we do.
How do you feel when someone says, "Think outside the box"?
Oh, I hate it. It's one of those pet peeves for me, because it's so easy to just say think outside the box, and we say packaging for a new era is what we like to say, because we want people to think outside the box about their packaging and look at new ways to move and ship and store things.
Well, it's always interesting to learn these critical areas of our lives that provide the foods and the goods that we enjoy with our friends and family. I appreciate your time, Justin Bean, and I think your website is reusabletranspack.com. Is that right?
That's right. If you're interested in learning more about reusable packaging, or if you have an idea about reusable packaging or just want to talk, check us out at reusabletranspack.com.
And otherwise, you might see Justin Bean sailing into the sunset to parts unknown, near penguins or something else beyond the horizon. Thanks again, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Well, that's another edition of A Neighbor's Choice in the books, folks. We've learned about nutrition with Dr. Ken Berry. We've learned about boxes and boating and how to overcome fear. There'll be more stories to share with you tomorrow night. We'll see you.
All right, let's take this